Michael Schumacher wins. Michael Schumacher is world champion.
Hello and welcome to our preview show. Well, it seems no time at all since we left Japan at the final Grand Prix of last season, but actually it's well over 4 months. I'm delighted to tell you we've got David Coulthard with us today to give us the inside line on this year's Grand Prix season, just 1 week away in Melbourne. David, 2 months off where there was no testing at all, then 2 months of really hectic on-track action. The fans probably think you've had your feet up all winter. What does a top-line driver really have to do during that time?
Well, there's no question we've had slightly more time to enjoy a normal life, if you like, than we've had in previous seasons, because, you know, we didn't have any testing in December, where previously it was just November where we had the testing ban. So I was allowed a little bit more relaxed schedule to back away from a more structured form of training, do my own training for a few weeks, and enjoy just a little bit of travel. You know, as you know, I have a Brazilian girlfriend, so I spent a little bit of time in Brazil getting to know her family, and then back to Europe, get back into proper structured training through December, and then we started testing in January 7. Through that time, we've obviously had a new relationship to develop with Michelin, which has given us plenty of new tyres to test, which has been a lot of fun.
When you were first sitting in the tub of your new car, the MP417, what's going through your mind?
Well, the first time you jump in a car, as you know, you really want to just make sure that you've got the sort of space to do your job. You know, from the outside, when you look at the drivers in the car, you just see the head moving left and right and the hands moving on the wheel, but the fact is it's a physical environment. You need to be able to manhandle and muscle the car around the track. So we just popped last year's seat in the car, and then it was just a question of me making sure that steering position, pedals, basic elbow room was to my liking, and it feels good.
And one of the big stories of 2002 is going to be Kimi Räikkönen. Can he live up to all of the promise of last season? How good is he? What's the first impressions of him?
Well, my first response is that, you know, I don't think about Kimi, I don't think about any of the other drivers really when I'm going about my business. I think about myself, how do I get the maximum out of the car, working with engineers. Is it a new part? Can I have it? If not, why not? You know, Ron, please. Yeah. Mika was a quick driver. Kimi's clearly a quick driver. It's not going to be a question of you know, me being in front of him all the time or him being in front of me all the time. It's going to be swings and roundabouts depending on who gets the maximum out of their equipment that weekend or who has the luck.
The reality is any teammate you have at McLaren's not going to be a snail. Do you think the team's going to miss Mika?
I think that, you know, Mika is a likeable chap, so on that basis we're all going to miss him. You know, he was a deserving world champion. He was a very quick guy, very committed behind the wheel, but he had grown tired of the life. You know, the team moves on. You're very quickly forgotten in this business, and people have fond memories of him, but he's no longer part of the McLaren system.
Now, you threatened to challenge for the World Championship last year, then it all went miserably wrong with a lot of gremlins, not least your launch control failing to live up to its name on a couple of occasions.
I think that the problem we had in Barcelona and then obviously in Monaco, where we are now, was it was identified very quickly and rectified. It was an oversight. It's you know, people may well ask, how can that happen in Formula One? Well, no matter how much technology you have, no matter how many resources you have, the great thing about this sport, as with so many other sports, it comes down to people. It was a brave move trying to take the leapfrog in the performance that you're aiming for, but maybe we have to be a little bit more cautious in the future. It's such a fundamental part of the race, is getting away off the line.
Michael Schumacher has won 4 World Championships, could be on for 5. Has he got anything that you haven't got?
There's no question that Michael is a benchmark. He has all of the attributes that you require in terms of qualifying pace, race pace, aggression that's required to go racing. Is he beatable? Yes. That's the bottom line. The conversation's over. You don't need any more than that. Can I beat Michael Schumacher? Yes. Have I beaten Michael Schumacher? Yes.
Will you beat Michael Schumacher?
I don't know. Can I? Yes. Will I beat him this year? I don't know. It depends on a number of factors, of which no one has the crystal ball. And, you know, a friend of mine has commented that racing drivers have balls, but none of them are crystal. And that's a fact.
It's not difficult to predict Ferrari's future, not if their past is anything to go by. 9 wins, 15 podiums in 2001, Michael Schumacher now the most successful driver of all time. It's been a busy winter for writers of record books. So how do you improve on perfection?
Very easy, because it's not a job, it's a passion, and when you have a passion, and you just do it. The motivation the guys and the important guys which design the car have, in particular Rory, it's something unbelievable. I have no doubt at all that he's going to do his best, and which means even better what we had last year.
Designer Rory Byrne has indeed produced an impressive-looking car. It features a revolutionary new transmission, which should allow quicker gear changes. But it's not certain that it will last a race distance. So when your old car's so good, why risk the new one?
To be first, you're first to finish, and this is certainly the most important thing. And I'm sure with the new car, because most of the components are very well known, that we shouldn't have any issue with that. We're going to be on top strong with it, in my view, as well, because of what I know, everything should make it going a certain amount faster.
Ferrari are now the only top team on Bridgestone tyres. McLaren and Williams are both on the Michelins, so where will the threat come from?
Mainly from BMW, because they have had 1 year together with the Michelin tyres. When I remember we joined Bridgestone, we made some experience which didn't allow us to perform immediately 100%. So I have to assume it might be the same for McLaren. Therefore, I'm saying that BMW, in my view, is going to be the first opponent, and Mercedes should be somewhere behind that, but we'll find out.
The Williams threat once again comes in the shape of little brother Ralph, who proved last year that he'd come of age with 3 race wins, and teammate Juan Pablo Montoya, who made his intentions very clear in his debut season.
This is what we were promised when Montoya came into Formula One, a feisty, aggressive racer, and we've got it. Montoya leads.
So both drivers have the talent, but will they have the car?
It's meant to be a quite big step forward. Even it looks quite similar, it is a big step forward. And the question is, how much of a step forward Ferrari is making.
And what are your expectations for yourself?
Don't have anything, we have to really wait and see how the car is, how competitive it is, and then we'll go from there. As long as we do a good job with the team, I think we can manage to get some good results.
We both have realized that it needs 2 drivers, 2 cars to work on the project, and that we are a big team. And whenever it comes down to the race, we obviously try to beat each other, but in a very gentle way, in that we are not catching each other out of the circuit or whatever.
Williams hope a year's worth of experience on Michelin tyres will stand them in good stead. Now McLaren have also switched to the French manufacturer's rubber.
If you look in your mirrors at any Grand Prix this year and you see a Williams, you won't be concerned whether it's Ralph or Juan Pablo. You think they're both a threat as such?
I think they have equal opportunity at this moment in time. If I see a Williams in my mirror, I might be a little bit more concerned than if I saw a Ferrari, because they undoubtedly have very good straight line speed. And that's the worst nightmare for a driver in a race. You sit in a straight line, you're now the passenger. You can't do any more than have 100% throttle. And then it comes down to the performance of the cars as to who's got the best straight line speed.
Well, they're on the same tyres as you, but basically what you're saying is, if I understand it, you think that Williams will be strong and both their drivers have the chance to be strong.
Absolutely. There's no evidence to suggest anything other than that. Montoya is not a new driver. He was new to Formula One in terms of racing, but he'd done a lot of testing for Williams. He's young enough, as Jacques was when he went to America and then came back to Formula One, not to have got too into the sort of American way of racing, so he was able to make the adaptation. And he performed as I would have expected. Ralph is a quick driver as well.
Sauber finished 4th last year. They're effectively a Ferrari B team, aren't they? They're on Bridgestone. They've got a lot of Ferrari. They've got the Ferrari engine and a lot of bits and pieces on their car. Do you give them much thought? Do they enter your concern zone?
Sauber had their rollout at a test with us in Barcelona, and there was only the 2 teams there. And you get I think you can tell a lot from how a car performs straight away. And it was, in the absence of knowing what fuel level they run, which is obviously significant in how quick it will go around the lap, they seem pretty quick. And there's enough evidence there to suggest that they've taken a step forward from last year. I hope I'm wrong, I really do. But they look like they're slowly nudging their way forward.
Felipe Massa, have you ever heard of him? Will you recognise him in the driver's briefing in Melbourne?
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him prior to him getting the drive with Sauber, but obviously he's only been given the opportunity to think he's good. Only time will tell.
So I come from Brazil. 2000 I did the European and Italian championship of Formula Renault, and was very nice because I won both championship. And last year Formula 2000 European championship, and was very nice too because I won the championship, and now I'm here in Formula 1, and so I'm very happy because I'm 20 years old and I'm starting Formula 1. So with Sauber, it's a very good team. So this is Felipe Massa.
And this is the new Jordan Honda, complete with droopy Ferrari-style nose. The team welcomed back Giancarlo Fisichella from a good year with Benetton, but the little Italian will have to be on his toes if he's going to beat his new teammate. Takuma Sato is being touted as Japan's best ever Formula 1 driver. He's the current British Formula 3 champion, but needs as much testing as he can get.
Because I started motor racing only 19 years old, and now it's just 5 years, so I need a lot of experience. So it might struggle in a couple of beginning races, but catching up to my really good teammate, and hopefully we're going to go same level towards the end.
Isn't it a bit scary having these sort of novices really mid-pack in fast cars? Doesn't it bother you a little bit?
I don't give it any thought because my focus isn't in the middle of the grid. It really isn't. My focus is at the front end, and inevitably there will be. If we don't have the package that I think we do, maybe we'll be there and they'll become part of my focus for the year. But it's just not where my mind is.
Dave Richards has taken over from Craig Pollock. Probably one of your best mates in Formula 1 is Jacques. Any ideas on how that's impacted on him, that his manager and best friend has been booted out of BAR, and what his mindset is?
To be honest, I haven't spoken to Jacques since that happened. I would imagine, knowing Jacques, that he would be very angry, frustrated, annoyed. One of his strengths is that he wears his heart on his sleeve, and you're under no illusions as to how he's feeling, and I'm sure he's expressed that to the team. His management have obviously decided it was time for a change. Let's wait and see what happens, and ultimately the bottom line for him has got to be, is the car good enough? Does it give him an opportunity to win? And then everything else becomes secondary to that.
Olivier Panis appears happier than Jacques, although BAR hasn't set the world alight in testing. But Villeneuve won't be drawn on whether that affects his future with the team.
I think the question now should be, is it enough to be in the front and to start winning? I'm not driving every day thinking, okay, is this good for me to stay here or not? What I'm thinking, is this good to win or not? That's what matters.
But to be realistic, BAR doesn't appear to have made any great strides forward this year. After the break, more from David Coulthard on the season ahead and his thoughts on the other British drivers.
Welcome back. Now there's going to be one team missing from the Formula 1 grid this year. Prost have gone bust. The French team's employees took to the streets of Paris, urging the bankruptcy officials not to put an end to their dream. It didn't work. The courts closed the doors at the end of January.
The market for a team like us is almost impossible, because we have to pay for the engine, and we ask to the sponsors quite a lot of money, more or less the same money that big teams could ask, because we are paying the engine, so the budget must be high.
Budgets certainly aren't a problem for the new Toyota team. Japan's largest car manufacturer has spent the last 12 months testing, so should be well prepared for race action. Driving the cars is the experienced Finn Mika Salo and Scotsman Alan McNish, an F1 new boy at the age of 32.
When I was 19, when I first stepped in a Formula 1 car, I was pretty naive in a lot of ways, inside the cockpit and outside the cockpit. And now I've got a heck of a lot more of experience of racing. I know how to win big races, I know how to work with big manufacturers and in pressure situations, but also I think just generally I've got a bit more experience of life.
What do you think of the Toyota package and what chances they've got?
I think in Mika and Alan, they've got two solid drivers. Mika's obviously got a lot of experience of Formula 1. Alan, it's not a surprise he's got to Formula 1. The only surprise is it's taken so long, because I think he deserved his opportunity much earlier in his career.
Now, Benetton are morphing into Renault. We know that they've won so many championships and been so strong. What do you think their chances and Button's chances of shining there?
Unquestionably, Renault are another company that know what it takes to win in Formula 1. Benetton have a history in their present form of being World Championship contenders. There's obviously, they've got a bit of a restructure in their design team, which will probably take time to actually develop. But the fact is, they outqualified us in Suzuka, so they obviously had pace come the end of the year. This could well be an opportunity for Jensen to get back towards the front.
And change! Next exercise, away you go!
Renault have made sure their drivers are in peak physical condition for the start of the new season. But Jensen Button's hoping the mental strength he gained from a season at the wrong end of the grid will serve him well in 2002.
It was a tough season at the start of the year, especially, you know, the way I did, and I think that's really going to help me this season. I'm a lot more confident with the team and also with the car and with myself, so it's looking good, and I'm very happy, and I just can't wait to get going, really. I'm more happy than I was last year, definitely.
You're going to be winning?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? I think there's a chance. I mean, you don't know what the other teams are doing over the winter, but I'm sure there's a chance. I think if we've got the competitiveness we had at the end of the season, plus a bit more, we'll be there, and I think that's what we're aiming for.
New teammate Jarno Trulli proved in the Jordan that he's an extremely quick qualifier, but questions remain as to whether the Italian can maintain that pace over a race distance. If he can, he'll doubtless provide Jensen with a big challenge.
Can you relate to any of the pressure that Jensen's had? And I mean, I've got him penciled in as the positive surprise of the year. I think he will dig deep. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I believe that Jensen has the necessary talent to succeed in Formula One. He's clearly quick, he's got his head screwed on, but personal opinion, as you asked for it, I do think that the eye went off the ball slightly. You know, there are lots of avenues that present themselves to you that you can go running off down to have some fun. I've made some mistakes in that area as well, but I've learnt from that, and I've always managed to bring myself back on track. You know, what is our business? What am I about? I'm about trying to win Grand Prix, trying to win a championship. Everything else that is a potential distraction from trying to achieve that goal has got to be put to one side. It's got to be.
Jaguar, a team close to my heart because I drove so many races for them in the World Sports Car Championship and the endurance races, and I'd love to see them doing well, but it's been misery so far. The first sightings of the car, it looks like they've got a major problem, doesn't it?
They're obviously still a team in turmoil. They've had so many changes over the course of last year that I don't think you can really judge them at this moment. You need to give them this season. You know, again, they've been unfortunately caught out of step, that they probably made the changes too late to affect where they're going to be for this year's car. Eddie, you know, it really he blows so hot and cold in his comments. You know, one moment he's really focused on the team and his job, the next minute he's talking about all the things he's achieved, and he's second best driver in the world, and having pops at people, and it just seems like a scatterbomb technique, and shows to me a sort of lack of focus on what his real job is.
Niki Lauda provided Jaguar with a moment of light relief when he took the 2001 car out for a pre-season spin. Quite literally. But it seems that might be the only thing the team has to smile about right now. Fundamental problems with the new car led to the resignation of design chief Steve Nichols just a month before the start of the season. But Eddie Irvine has been keen to play down talk of a crisis.
Everything can be sorted. You know, I think the actual chassis of the car is good. It's very light and it's strong, so I don't think that's the major thing that takes a lot of time to develop. The rest are basically bolt-on bits that we can change very quickly, and this car was brought out early to find problems, and we probably found a few more than we thought.
How important is this season for you personally?
Every season's important. You know, you're here to perform, you get paid to perform. You know, I make enough money outside Formula One not to be bothered. You know, we're all here to do the job, and if you don't do the job, you don't stay.
Do you think he can still cut the mustard at this sharp end?
It's interesting because if I'm trying to be honest here, that's the best policy, isn't it? I think Eddie is a good racing driver. I respect him on the track. He's clean. He still has the speed, there's no question. Where I believe he lets himself down, only an opinion, is he's got too much to say. You know, too much to say all the time. You know, he's contracted to race and test and develop the Jaguar racing car. If he spent as much time doing that as he does in all the other things, then it must improve the performance somewhere along the line.
Arrow's had a good start to 2001, Jos Verstappen ran in the top 3 during the Malaysian Grand Prix, but as the season wore on, the car dropped off and they scored just 1 point all year. This season they're paying for Cosworth engines and sharing technology with the Jaguar team. But unfortunately Verstappen won't be seeing any of it. He's been given the boot, the team preferring Prost refugee Heinz-Harald Frentzen to partner Enrique Bernoldi, who helps bring in the sponsors' cash. For the first time in a long time, Minardi aren't in for such a bumpy ride this season, thanks to a big slice of sponsorship money from Malaysia. The country supporting their man Alex Yoong, while Formula One welcomes back an Aussie to the grid, in the shape of the highly rated Mark Webber.
So 1 week to go to Melbourne. Your predictions for a dark horse and who's going to win?
I think the team that's shown that they have the potential to be improved over last year in winter testing has been Sauber. Difficult to judge where Jordan, Bar, Jaguar, those sort of teams are at the moment. As to a winner, I think that it's not clear-cut. I think that you can expect that any one of McLaren, Ferrari or Williams have the possibility of winning that Grand Prix. But clearly I hope that we have the winning ticket.
You're predicting a 3-horse race then, David. Thanks very much for your candid views. We at F1 ITV will be bringing you qualifying live at 1:30 a.m. on Saturday morning, the 2nd of March. The race will be shown live a little after 2 o'clock on Sunday morning, with a rerun at 1:30 in the afternoon. I hope you can join us for those programmes. The Aussies bill Albert Park as a great place for a race, and it most certainly is. Goodbye.